Let's take a look at two examples of how to use the law of cosines either to find a missing angle or a missing side. We've got two examples here, one of each, and we need to remember what the law of cosines says. So there's three versions of it. One version's a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2, and then I got to use those two variables on the same right side, so b times c times the cosine of the angle that matches the variable on the other side. So that's one version of it. The second version starts b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of b. And then our third version is going to start c squared equals b squared plus a squared. In fact, I'll back up. We'll just put it alphabetically, a squared plus b squared. So that looks a lot like Pythagorean theorem, minus 2ab cosine c. So as I look at my first example here to find the measure of angle B, I want to select the one of these equations that involves angle B. And so I see that the only one that does so is that middle one. So I'm going to pick that one up and I'm going to fill in for all the other variables. So one thing I need to do on my diagram is label the side. So here's vertex A, opposite it is side A. Here's vertex B, opposite it is side B. And vertex C, opposite it is side C. So I'm ready to fill that in. So I'm going to just put it again, b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. And I'll just fill in. So that's going to be 104 squared equals 67 squared plus 49 squared minus 2 times 67 times 49 times the cosine of b. So that's everything filled in. What I need to solve for now is the angle B. So there's a couple things that I need to subtract and then a couple things that I need to divide. Start with the subtraction. So I'm going to subtract the squared terms to cancel them on the right, and they'll appear here on the left. So my next step will have 104 squared minus 67 squared minus 49 squared. And that's going to now equal negative 2 times 67 times 49 times cosine of b. So then the piece that I need to divide away is everything but cosine b. So negative 2 times 67 times 49. That'll cancel. And so all I'm left with is cosine b there on the right. And notice the left side's building up with all the cancellations we made. So last step here for me to find the measure of angle B is to apply inverse cosine. So I do see that here on the right side, all I've got is cosine B. So to cancel the cosine, I'll apply inverse cosine. And that will get me just to B on the right side. So where we'll get our answer is from this left fraction. So it's 104 squared. So everything's the same. Minus 67 squared minus 49 squared, all divided by negative 2 times 67 times 49. And then to actually catch the angle B, we're going to apply inverse cosine on the left as well. So that's what I need to type into Desmos. So let's head over there and just input this in. So I'm just going to record it down. As I head over to Desmos, I need to remember the setting that has to be in place for me to get a correct answer back. So I know my angles are being measured in degrees. So I'm going to go immediately here to degrees. And then I can input that expression. So I'm going to start off with inverse cosine. That's under the functions tab, middle column. Create my fraction there. So it's 104 squared minus 67 squared minus 49 squared all over -2 times those two factors, 67 times 49. And that's giving me a measure of angle B here of 126. And I want to round to the 10th. So I'm looking, that's a 0.7. To the right of it's a 2. So I'm going to stick with 126.7 degrees. And that finalizes for us this measure of angle B. That's 126.7 degrees. I can look back at my triangle. That seems like a reasonable measure there for B. It's clearly on obtuse angle. So just for Kahoot, just so that you're good on how to enter that answer, you won't enter the degrees, you'll just enter the number, including the 10th. So we're rounding to the 10th. So that example was good to solve for a missing angle. The second example is looking for a missing side. So here I'm looking for side AC. So again, what I'll do on the diagram is a little bit of work just to give some labels. So I see AC is that long side there, and it's opposite angle B. So what I'm looking for is side B. Well, what that says to me is I need to choose the equation here that involves B squared on the left. So just like our first example, coincidentally, we're going to choose this second one. So I'll bring it again. B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. And just to help again with the input substituting values in, I'm going to label my sides A, B, and C. We got B already labeled, so opposite side or vertex A is side A, opposite vertex C is side C. And we'll fill in. So it's going to be B squared equals 188 squared, that's side A, squared, plus side C squared is 164 squared, minus 2 times A, 188, times C, 164, times cosine of angle B, which we're given as 98 degrees. So a little faster solution on this one. All we got to do is take square root both sides. And again, take that expression to Desmos. Just recording it down so I can input it. So cosine of 98 degrees. Let's go get our measure of side B, side AC there. So I'm going to start with the square root since that was over everything. 188 squared minus plus 164 squared minus 2 times 188 times 164 times cosine of 98 degrees. And that's giving me a side length for side B of 266.1. 266.1. We'll head back to our notes just to finalize that side length. B has a value of about 266.1. I'll put the units here, miles, but then just highlight for the Kahoot, my entry would just be the number itself, 266.1. Thanks for joining for these two examples of how to use the law of cosines to solve for a missing angle or a missing side. See you soon.